We're going to give you guys some tips for Siege, and then also we're going to go over the best brawlers which you want to use in this Siege mode and the worst brawlers that you want to stay away from. So I feel like this is really important because with Siege mode, as you guys know, you can lose trophies incredibly fast, but you can also gain them incredibly fast because you gain like double the trophies and everything. So I feel like you want to be using the brawlers that are going to give you the best chance to win. So that's what we're going to go over today. First, we'll start off with the brawlers that you really don't want to stick around and use, and then we'll get into the really good brawlers and give you guys some tips on them and everything. So hopefully you guys are excited. Definitely like if you guys are. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, if you like the strategy and the ranking videos and everything. So stay tuned for more, and let's hop into this. So first and foremost, I'm going to be ranking the brawlers which you really don't want to use in this mode from 5th place all the way to 1st. So the first one is like the one like I highly recommend you do not try. So in 5th place here is Shelly. You can try her out. She's okay maybe at the lower to mid trophy range, but at the higher trophy range she really gets phased out, and I feel like she's okay at taking care of like the robot bosses, but she's kind of difficult to push with them because there's a lot of longer range brawlers in this, and that she struggles with that. And they're not like that turret safe. It's called like the IKE. I don't know what that stands for, but we're just gonna call it turret safe, okay? But she struggles pushing with that because she has to go so far in to get close to that safe, and if that robot dies, she has to take the whole walk back because she's a close range brawler, and then she's probably gonna get destroyed by that time. So she can kind of like lock down if a bolt spawns, but she's not like full tank either, so she can't just like be like a Frank, because Frank is actually fairly decent in this mode, or Primo, to be able to like be the bolt collector. But I don't know, I just have her on the lower tier of the list. I feel like she's very easy to play around in this game mode. Number 4, we have Crow. Crow is just like really good in showdowns and everything, but all the other game modes not so much. So with Crow, the reason why we have him this low is because he just does damage over time. He's not like this big burst brawler. He has incredibly low health, which makes him terrible, absolutely terrible for grabbing the bolts. And if he were to like push into the other, like the enemy's side, basically the safe turret's just gonna melt him. So I don't know, like he doesn't have enough burst and enough damage to be able to like be considered good in this, because he can't really back brawlers off. Like say a Pam's charging to get a bolt, you're not really going to be scared of a Crow that's just like kind of trickling hitting you, because with Pam, by the time you have that poison damage on you, if you can land your shots, you're going to get your star power heal anyways. So I feel like Crow's just very lackluster in this mode, so that's why we have him up here. In the 3rd spot, we have Piper. On the current map that we have, Piper actually has some viability. She has like those wide open lanes and everything, but she's still very squishy, and she doesn't do anything up close, and that's a really big drawback for her because like if she's going for a bolt and someone just happens to pop out and get really close to her, she's going to be kind of useless. Now if you have your super, it might be in a little better situation, but I just feel like she reloads so slow as well, and I don't know, I just kind of would stay away from her. Now there is one sort of thing, like if you go to the sides of the new map here, you can do this with Brock as well. You can stand in the corner behind like that barrel, and the turret will not hit you, and you can just keep firing your shots. Brock is actually better with this because he reloads faster than the Piper, but Piper has that little extra range, so she can stand a little bit further back so she can hit it. But by the time like the enemy teams realize like what you're doing, you're just standing there over there. Like if you notice ever that there's 2 people in the middle and like you're looking for the other teammate, just check your HP on your safe health and make sure like it's not going down, because that means either a Brock or a Piper is probably on the corners of the basically that 3-point line of where you're chilling, and you can deal like a ton of damage. Because you may see in the gameplay here, I'll try and line it up so you can see it while I'm talking about it. With a Brock, you can deal so much damage. This actually happened to us when we first were playing our first couple games of Siege. A Brock did that to us, and he got our safe down to 25, or RKE down to 25%, and we didn't even know what was going on. We just thought he was like AFK or something, because there's so much going on in Siege. Like it's hard, you don't always look at your HP until we got our first robot and we're like, what the heck happened? And then we ended up subsequently losing. So be mindful of that. But Piper, other than that, most people are after a while are going to realize what you're doing, and she's not the greatest, especially on the other 2 maps as well. Number 2, we have Mortis. Stay away from Mortis, please. Like, he is very bad at taking care of the robots. He is very bad at dealing damage to the safe. He is he's good at picking up the bolts and avoiding damage. He's okay at controlling the middle and destroying some of the brawlers, but yeah, he can't do much else. Like, he is not a good brawler in this. I've seen him a lot, and pretty much every single time I faced a Mortis, we ended up winning. it's just like he's not in the greatest spot. Plus, there's a lot of brawlers that are in the top 5 that all have like turrets or like pets or whatever that they can place on the map, and that really hinders Mortis, because if you're inexperienced with him, a lot of times you're gonna auto aim to get your burst damage done, and that might hinder you, and they might go for those turrets and everything. So there's a lot of control brawlers right now, and I feel like Mortis is just not a good pick. He's good at picking up bolts, but besides that, not really, because he can't get close to that safe to deal like a significant amount of damage. He cannot deal damage to the robot because it's just gonna attack him and hurt him. So stay away from Mortis. Now the number one, like absolute worst, I would say is Poco. The reason for this is like he has such a short range, and he might have that sustainability in the middle, but a lot of times you're not even gonna be able to like, he doesn't have a high amount of damage either. So with Poco, I just feel like he's slow damage. He's okay sustain, which is actually good for like in gem grab and everything, and in some of the brawl ball maps and everything. So Poco, I just don't like him in this, and I don't recommend you try him. You're gonna struggle. But I'm like, especially on the map that we have out right now, in the shorter range, it's not as bad, but I would just stay away from Poco for here. Now I want to move into the top 5 best ones. So the 5th spot, I'm actually gonna put Brock here. I absolutely love Brock. I love his super, where you can take care of the turrets. You can take care of and just open the walls if you're facing like those tankier brawlers. And it's just very good for the crown control. And then the other point is too, like he has the ability to do where you can kind of sneak into like the left or the right hand side of the enemy's turret and actually just chill there and launch your shots and deal a ton of damage over time. And especially if they don't notice you, it's going to be a ton of damage. So that's the reason why I have Brock right here. Honorable mentions for up here are going to be Colt, especially on this map. I feel like the other ones he's not as good, but with the wide open nuts and bolts match, he's pretty solid. Barley's going to be in the honorable mentions too. Gotta get in there with him because he can take care of the turrets as well. Another honorable mention is going to be Frank. He is really nasty to deal with. He has that tankiness to be able to get the bolt. He can stun, and he doesn't get as effective as Shelly because like of that stun is just so good, and he has that added health to be able to walk there. Some things that people might ask questions is like Jean. Jean can actually drag turrets now. I think they just released that in the patch notes or that maintenance earlier today. So he could drag turrets, Pam's whatever, healing turret. He can actually drag the Robo Brawler as well. It's cool that he can do that, but it's actually not super useful. So he's not an honorable mention, but he's one that I would probably stay away from. So I kind of did this backwards. I started talking about my 5th one, went into honorable mention. Sorry. So number 4 here, we're actually gonna put Nita here. If you're playing on the other 2 maps, we're gonna rise her in the ranks. But considering that this is the map we have out right now with the longer range lanes, Nita struggles a little bit on this map because of all the long range brawlers and long range distance. But we have to put her up here because of how good she is on the other 2. She basically just can lock down the middle. Her bear is really awesome because she can just control the middle. You can actually throw it on your bear to help you maybe escape the enemy's turret range because the turret hits whatever's closest to it. So if you throw it on your bear, you can get out of there and basically not take any damage. But she's just so good for the control, and she can get the bolts easily. Or say an enemy's going for the bolt, you throw it on the bear, it's gonna usually back them off. But now it's more on the other 2 maps. But this one, she struggles a little bit, so that's why we put her down at number 4. You still can try and play here, but she's not going to be as effective, or you might get outranged like crazy like you might be seeing in this gameplay here. So number 3, that's going to put Penny because she's very solid on all of the other ones. And the reason why she's really up this high is because of her mortar. Her mortar is what makes her really. It's like you can do so much with this. You can place this like normal just to help you out deal damage. What's really good about her main attack is like say you hit the robot, her coins that splash out behind her are going to hit the brawlers that behind her. The other turrets that she shoots, like a Jessie turret or a Pam turret, it's going to be annoying with that splash damage chip to her. And then the real cool thing is with her mortar, you can place it on like that outer 3-point line range on maybe like the left hand side or the right hand side, and that mortar is actually going to hit the safe turret, and it's going to deal a ton of damage, and that safe is not going to be able to like deal damage to it because it's going to be out of range. So it's going to force the enemy team to, once they notice it, go and back off and actually go and hit that. So you can kind of be a little sneaky, try and work your way around the outsides of the map if you have your turret and go place it over there and see if it takes them a while to notice what's up. So that's what's really good about Penny. She's just a good control brawler. That turret is really what pushes her up this high. And number 2, we're going to put Pam. You guys know Pam is one of the best brawlers in the game right now. Her star power with the heal, her turret just for healing up your teammates and everything. And the cool thing about these turrets and everything is like if you throw them right in front of that robot, the robot's actually going to attack those and take care of those first before maybe proceeding. So you can like buy yourself a couple extra seconds if you need, like with the Pam turret or the Jessie or the Penny mortar or the Jessie turret, and throw it in front of the brawler with the robot, and it'll save you a few times. So with Pam, you guys know she just is hard to kill. Even with her little nerf in the balance range, she's still really, really good. Does a ton of damage. Her sustain is insane. She's so good at getting the bolt. Does a lot of damage to the safe. Has that annoying chip damage range. Obviously, she does a ton of damage up close. Pam overall is just, I don't think we need to spend too much time on her. She's just one of the best brawlers in this game mode, and that's why we have her up at number 2. You definitely want to be using Pam here. I feel like she is maybe a must-have in almost all scenarios in this game mode. Number 1. Next up, we have Jessie. If you have the star power, she's for sure solidified in this spot. If you don't, maybe we can drop her a few tiers, but oh my gosh. Especially on the other 2 maps where it's that close quarters and everything more, she's a nightmare. Jessie has the healing properties just to heal up her turret. You can, like I stated earlier, you can defend with that turret. You can even go on the offensive with that turret and throw it down. And a really cool play is like when you're pushing with your robot onto their safe, throw it on your turret, and then you're gonna shoot their safe, and then your main attack is just gonna keep bouncing because a lot of time the enemies are gonna group up and try and take care of that robot. So there's like bounce shots they have to avoid, the robot they have to take care of, and your turret they have to take care of. It's really, really insane, and those bounce shots are really awesome too because there's so many turrets and control brawlers on this map that it can just bounce like crazy. And she's pretty solid at contesting the bolts because if you see someone going for a bolt, throw it on your turret, and a lot of times they're not gonna go for it and they're gonna back off. So Jessie, I feel like, is very deserving of this number 1 spot. Talked to a lot of people, got their opinions, or kind of what helped shape this list here. And I don't know, I feel like she's really good. You could easily put Pam up there. On those other 2 maps, you could easily maybe put Nita up there, but Jessie's is so annoying, man. Those bounce shots are really what... I hate facing her. That's why. On the longer range map, she's not as dominant because it's not as close quarters, but she still is very solid. So this is my best and worst brawler list for the Siege game mode. Some easy tips are basically you really got to play with your team. It's very hard to... You can go in solo on this, but I recommend trying to find a team because you want to be able to like push with your team and back off with your team. Like you guys, you really want to do team pushes here. Now, if you're trying to do that Brock thing, your teammates are gonna have to defend off the middle 2v3, but it's worth it for the amount of safe damage that you can get. One other thing too is it doesn't like the first 2 robots. Honestly, like you can lose the first 2 robots, and then if you gain control of the middle by the time like the 3rd bolts are spawning and you have a lot more than the enemy, a lot of times you can win on that 3rd robot push because those are usually the winning pushes. Like the 1st and the 2nd are just kind of like gain control, get a little chip damage on their safe, and then the 3rd and the 4th ones are like the winning push. So try at all costs to gain control and get the bolt lead around that 3rd robot time because that's when they start to be getting crazy. So I don't know, just be wary. Like if your robot dies, get out of their side because it's gonna start taking out anything that's closer to it, that the Ike or the safe turret. It's gonna start shooting you if you're closer to it. Now if you need to protect yourself, you can throw down like your mortar, your Jessie turret, your Nita bear to get out of there. So keep that in mind. Another cool thing that I forgot to mention with Penny is you can actually throw it on your side too, and a lot of people aren't gonna go and try and get it. Same with the Pam turret because they're not gonna want to cross enemy lines and stuff. So overall, just cool things going on here. And I know you guys probably already noticed this, but you can, like, say a brawler picked up a bolt. If you take them out before they send their bolt back to their Ike, you can actually take care of them, and it's gonna drop on the map, and you can pick it up and then steal it for yourself. So hopefully you guys are enjoying Siege. It can be great for gaining trophies fast, but it can also be bad for losing trophies very, very rapidly.